Rajim, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, all praise is due to Allah, and may His peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I begin by greeting my brothers and sisters saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for being here, and I hope that you are enjoying this as much as I am enjoying it, inshallah ya Rabbil Alameen. And last time we spoke about the need for love, we spoke about the myths that we have about love, and then we concluded by saying that inshallah today we are going to jump right into the meat of our topic. Before you say I do, now that we know about love, we know about relationships, people say, okay, I am ready to commit to a relationship. What do I do? Where do I start from? Remember, the way that we're going to work on this, inshallah, is always starting by drawing the bigger picture. We must be able to see the bigger picture before we jump right into the details. Usually people, when they are about to get married, what do they ask? What kind of a person should I be asking for or looking for? Well, before you get into the details, you need to be able to see the bigger picture. Once a man came to Ibrahim ibn Adham, and he said, "Oh, Ibrahim ibn Adham, Allah has blessed me with a child, and I would like to consult you, how should I raise my child?" Ibrahim ibn Adham said, "How old is your child?" So the man said, "He's 1 month old." So Ibrahim ibn Adham said, "By Allah, it's too late for you." "What do you mean? He's only 1 month old." He's saying, in other words, you should have been here consulting me before you chose his mother for him. You chose the mother, you had the baby, and now you're coming to consult. He said, if you really cared, you would have been here when you were about to choose his mother for him. The story might be a little bit exaggerated, but it does make a point. Now, in the capacity of a counselor, remember I told you that most of the counseling that I do happens to be with marital problems. People have marital issues and they come. And that was partially why I was motivated to do this workshop when I was doing it back in the US. And I felt that there were so many things that if people knew before they committed into a marital relationship, or at least they came early as they were having these problems in their marital relationships, things would have been much better for these people. And unfortunately, that is not the case. People usually come into counseling after they've really had a rough time, a hard time. So we're hoping that, inshallah, if you're watching this, if you are going through some problems, I would say seek out, elders in your community, if there are counselors where you are. So please do seek out counseling as well. And here's what we came up with, okay? Relationships, and by relationships I'm talking about marriages, of course, they have failed because one of two reasons. We are either with the right person in the relationship, but we are loving the wrong way. Or to begin with, we are with the wrong person. Some relationships, they can be mended. And other relationships, unfortunately, they may not be mended. So if you are with the right person, but one of you happens to be loving or being loved the wrong way, or to begin with, we might end up with the wrong person. But why do we end up with the wrong person? We will take, by the way, each one of them in greater details. But how do we end up with the wrong person? Well, here's what happens. We either, to begin with, get into the relationship for the wrong reason or reasons, or we get up into the relationship with the wrong person. This is very important. Bad relationships are either the result of the initial reason why we wanted to get married was the wrong reason, or we got married for the right reasons with the wrong person. Or sometimes we got married for the wrong reasons to the wrong person. Does that make sense? Okay? So, what are some of the wrong reasons that people get into relationships for? Bad relationships are either the result of wrong reasons, meaning that the initial reason why we got married is wrong, or we ended up with the wrong person. Reason number one, pressure. People feeling the need to get married. And that pressure could either be due to age, and I know that in some cultures, once a man or a woman, they have passed a certain age limit, then people start pushing all the panic buttons available to them. You must get married. You must get married. I remember anywhere I went prior to me getting married, people would ask me, so are you married? I say, no, I'm not married. And oh, come on, say this Chota Bandar, he's not married. And he's already 20 years old and he's not married. What are you talking about? So there is this idea of people being so pressured to get married, especially due to their age. Let me give you an example. I know of a sister, she's 26. Supposedly, relatively speaking, 26 is very young. But then she was not married. And she comes from a culture where girls start getting married at around the age of 16, 17, 18. So she is 26. So that is a long time. She had 7 years of a chance to get married and she was not married. And poor girl, she felt that she must get married. She's 26. In a year, 27, and soon it will be closer to 30 and nobody would be interested in her. Somebody proposed. The person that proposed was a known alcoholic, a known womanizer, somebody that was frequenting nightclubs, somebody that was frequenting parties, and she knew about it. Prior to the marriage, the minute he proposed, she knew about it. But then she also knew that she was 26. She said, now that I am 26, this person proposes, I am going to accept. But why are you accepting? You deserve better than this. But no, I am 26. My family is panicking. I am panicking. The people around me are getting married. My friends are getting married. I am the only single one amongst my friends. I must get married. Her marriage lasted 2.5 months. And of course, she never got married again. But you look into that relationship. To begin with, she got into the relationship for the wrong reason. She just felt that, you know what, she's of age where she must get married. Do you think that's a good reason for people to get married too? I mean, imagine that I come and I propose to somebody and they accept and I say, so, what is it that you liked about me that you are accepting? Oh, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just getting old. I don't want it to be too late for me. Nobody would be, this is not a flattering statement. Nobody would be thrilled with this. They tell you that it has nothing to do with you, no matter who you are. You could have been a Chota Bandar, a big Bandar, they would have said yes to you. Not acceptable. So sadly, this is what happens. And sometimes we are pressured because of our family circumstances. I remember one time in the masjid, sister called in and she said, Sheikh, I need to get married and I don't care to whom. She said, whomever you suggest, I want to get married. My family is mistreating me. My father is mistreating me. My mother is mistreating me. My brothers are mistreating me. My family is a miserable family. Every day that passes by, I am thinking of killing myself. Please, anybody that comes your way, it will be better than my family. I just want to get out of that family. Poor circumstances. I mean, poor girl. With our family, this is not the kind of family that you want to be a part of. But in her mind now is, she wants to get married as what? As an escape. She wants to run out of her circumstances. So what does she do? I just want marriage. Marriage is going to be the way out for me. Now, as sad as it is, we do not want to get into marriage simply because we're just running away from something. We want to get married simply because we want to get married. Because marriage is beautiful. When we start looking into marriage as an escape, what do you think happens? The same thing with the woman, the young sister that I told you about, the 26 who accepted the alcoholic and the womanizer, the person that was frequenting nightclubs. She knew it, but what happens is that she compromised. She compromised her principles. In normal circumstances, this would not be the person that she would want to be with. But now that she felt so much pressure as a result of her age, what did she do? She compromised. All the rosy pictures that we have had in our head as we were thinking about, you know what, the queen of the house and the knight who's going to come on the white horse, now all that is all gone. And she just wants just anybody. I am getting old. Similarly, the family as well. And sometimes also the pressure comes from friends. All your friends are married. You are the only single person. People invite couples over to their house, and everybody comes with their wife or with their husband, and you are the only single bender in that gathering. Okay? So you come in there and say, oh, you see people coming, and he's got his wife, and she's got her husband, and here you come, single person. So now your friends, they tell you, you know what? You need to get married, or you need to get married. And people start hooking you up, and people start talking. Now, it's nice that, you know what, people do this to us. But by the end of the day, the initial choice, the initial reason why we want to get married, it must be a sound reason. Remember all that emotional support, psychological visibility, directing our energies towards somebody that we love, having these energies reciprocated by receiving emotional support from that person. These are good reasons to want to get married. I don't want to get married because I'm getting old. I don't want to get married because my biological clock is ticking away. I don't want to get married because, you know what, my family is mistreating me. I don't want to get married because my friends are saying so. And sometimes people get married because they're pressured by the law. Give you an example. In the US, sometimes people come in with a visa, and their visa is about to expire. And one of the ways for people to stay in the country if they want to is by getting married to somebody who's got an American citizenship. So they marry somebody with an American citizenship to extend their stay and to make sure that their status is legal as they are residing in the US. But in the process, what do? I remember I had a person who came into the masjid, and they said, Sheikh, I need to get married preferably by tomorrow. Okay? I said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't care for the age, I don't care for the looks, preferably I don't even have to see her. And I'm saying, what are you talking about? And I learned that in a week, his visa is about to expire. So now he wants to get married. Two things are happening there. He's definitely getting married for the wrong reasons, but he's also misusing somebody else. He is misusing somebody else. If I knew that somebody wants to marry me and said, so what is it that you saw about me? I saw your American citizenship. That's what I saw in you. That is it? That's all you saw in me? I just have a citizenship? And that's why you are attracted to me? Actually, I'm not attracted to you. I'm just attracted to your citizenship. That is not acceptable. So what happens with pressure is that when we are pressured, we compromise. We compromise all the good values, the principles that we have had, and that leads us to making a very erroneous choice as we are doing this. We will take a short break, and we will come back again, inshallah, so please do stay tuned.
And always be seen as man and wife fulfilled.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And thank you for joining us again. If you're just joining us, we're talking about why do people end up in bad relationships. And I remember there was a sister that came to the masjid, and she said that she's feeling disrespected by her family. And I said, what do you mean? She said, here I am educated. I finished my BA degree or BS degree, and now I have finished my master's degree. I am about to join a PhD program. She is 27. And her family is bringing all these proposals. And she said, the guy is a drunk. He has been seen publicly drunk. Yet her family had the audacity of presenting this guy as a potential husband. And she said, Dad, do you know that this guy was seen publicly drunk? He said, well, you know, it was just a one-time thing. And she said, why are you doing this? And he said, you are 27. So now the pressure is not only you feeling that you are 27, but now your family seems like, you know what, your family is trying to push you out. They're saying, you know, you're too old, just come on, you know, get out. And of course, when people feel this way, they are made to feel a burden. And the minute they are made to feel a burden, what do? They want out. Because their family has not been very kind to them. No matter what, never should a person get married because they were pressured to do so. MashaAllah, if you feel that you are getting of an age, you're getting older, we are to be concerned because the younger we are, the more chances we have. The bigger the pool is of the choices that we have. And as we are in that situation, if somebody good comes, alhamdulillah. You're having legal situations, legal problems. If somebody that you would marry in normal circumstances comes as you are in these bad circumstances, and they do have what it takes to make your legal challenges go away, alhamdulillah, there is nothing wrong with this. Many times people would come and they would say, no, I am trying to get married, please do help me out. I would prefer somebody who is a citizen of this place simply because it will make my legal problems go away. Schooling will be cheaper for me, and there is nothing wrong with this. People can do this. What is wrong is that when people start compromising their principles in order to rid themselves of their legal challenges, where they misuse themselves and they do a disservice to other person, and that is not acceptable. Is this point a clear point, by the way? Do you see what kind of marriages we will end up having if people got married because they were pressured into the marriage? You see what kind of marriages we would have? Now, we want to make sure that we avoid this. So there are many good reasons to get married. Many, many good reasons to get married. And being pressured into marriage is not one of them. Please keep this in mind.
Brother, about your point on age, doesn't Islam, expect people to get married at an earlier age rather than waiting? Because based on my experience, since I teach in certain colleges, I feel a lot of people use education as an excuse to escape from marriage because they don't want to get into commitments. So education becomes a good escape route for them not to get into a commitment. And Islamically, the law, the age of puberty and things. So if you see in a lot of hadith also, it talks about people asking parents to get their children married earlier, because if something happens, I remember a hadith, I don't remember the exact words, that if a child commits any error because of this age issue, the blame is on the parents. So what is your view on this?
Number one, this hadith is not a sound hadith. Okay? Because there is a Quranic principle that says what? وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No soul shall carry the burden of another soul. No soul shall bear the sins of another soul. If I have my son and I raised him, and he still goes and makes the choice of doing something like this, then that was his choice. Why is that my responsibility? It may be the case that I did not create an environment for him that was healthy enough for him to make the proper choices in life. And at that point, I may be, held responsible for the upbringing of my child. Generally speaking, we would say that yes, it is in the spirit of Islam that people should marry young. Keep one thing in mind though. Many of these things also, there is cultural aspects into them. So for example, 50 years ago, people did not live as long as we do now. Maybe the lifespan is 47. Until today, there are some countries where the lifespan of a person is 47. So it makes sense that at the age of 15, they would get married. However, there are in some countries, like in Japan, what is the lifespan? It is getting up to 75, 76. So people are living that long. So no longer are people saying that if you only have 45 years to live, by 15, yeah, you get married, it makes sense because you only have 30 years to enjoy with your children. But now, if people are living up to 75 and you are at the age of 15, say, at least on paper, there is 60 years ahead of you. So it may be that 50 years ago, 15 was a marriageable age, and nowadays, 15 may not be a proper age, at least in some cultures. We want people to get married, when they feel that they are ready to get married, and especially when they are mature enough to get married. However, because in a culture that we live in, somebody is telling us that if you are not married by 24, it's too late for you, and by 23 you are panicking to get married, and people end up making poor choices because of this, then that becomes a concern. Because generally speaking, it's in the spirit of Islam. People get married when they are young. But for a reason or another, it may be the case that they did not get married when they were younger. So what happens to them? What happens? They should not be pressured into getting married to the wrong person because they are of an age.
When we talk of pressure, a very thing which comes to my mind, we have a lot of pressure from the female community because we have female who are themselves patriarchally incorporated in the society. So brother, can you please cite some examples from Islamic history wherein we can counter the situation of patriarchal incorporation within the females?
Meaning what?
Like they even after being victims of patriarchy, they further victimize fellow sisters. So do we have any incidents in Islamic history which counter such things?
Yes. See, a good number of sisters complain about their mother-in-laws, right? One day you're going to be a mother-in-law, right? And guess what? You will do exactly what's being done to you right now. Okay? And you say, but why is this? Supposedly, you would say, you know what, I have been there. I know what it meant when my husband's mother was so rude to me and she mistreated me and she was not kind to me. If Allah ever blesses me with a good daughter that is, fit to my husband, I will treat her as if she's my daughter. You'd think people will say this. But what happens is we become exactly the people that we were criticizing. We end up repeating that exact same cycle and you say, but you've been there. You know what that felt like. Of all people, you should have been the kindest. You should have been the nicest. But then we do not do this. And supposedly, part of rahmah is what? Is that we don't only feel for others, but especially the times when we ourselves were the victim of, whatever circumstances were there, is my ability to say, I know what that felt like when it was happening to me. Insha'Allah, I will see that I never do it against other people. Okay? I will never do it against other people. So I'll say, please, take it easy on your sisters. They are already going through enough pressure. And subhanAllah, there is something that happens with the sisters. Before they're married, they're pressured to do what? To get married. And once they're married, what happens? What kind of pressure now comes in? Are you pregnant yet? Are you pregnant yet? I just got married yesterday. Well, are you pregnant? It hasn't been even this. Are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? Then you get pregnant. How many children you have? One? Only one? And it just goes on, and life is one pressure after another pressure. And sadly, sometimes the pressure is placed on the sisters by other sisters.
Your point on cultural differences, with regards to the age, a marriageable age is well understood. But brother, from the point of view of a sexual need, when children begin to grow older and when that drive is there, how would you then give us a specific, in digits age group as per your understanding, the best age group, marriageable age?
See, there is no one formula that fits all. That becomes very difficult, even though this is one of the points that we will be talking about. There is no one formula that fits all. And what we're hoping when we speak about topics like these, we're just saying avoid pressure as you are about to get married. That pressure may take different forms, and one of them is sexual needs, which we will be talking about. But the point is, do not make such a very important decision in your life as far as choosing the partner for the rest of your life, supposedly for the rest of your life. Do not put yourself in a position where you are pressured into doing something like this. But we will talk about this point. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for this part of our program. We're glad that you have joined us. And inshallah, we will continue with our topic for the day next time we meet. Until we meet, we say so long and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.